Hello, this is Michelle Wallen, and this is my interpersonal communications project for HSCO 508, fall semester of 2015, Liberty University. My master goal, or my overarching goal, is to use the interpersonal communication skills and information I've used throughout this course to improve my listening both professionally and personally. I will work on this by continuing to enlarge the conversation. The master goal will help me to enlarge the conversation by allowing me to deepen relationships and use empathetic listening skills. Deepening relationships. This is where you share your feelings, experiences, and information in order to meet people on a different level than the surface level. You start making meaningful connections with others. Also, this is important for level 1 listening to be able to communicate well. Self-disclosure is another one of those things that you use to deepen a relationship. Self-disclosure can be helpful, but it can also set someone up for hurtful information and rejection, which can be kind of difficult to deal with. But it's very important in a counseling relationship to know when does it self-disclose. Empathetic listening is also a skill that is needed for level 1 listening and very important to a counseling relationship. We need to listen to others to be receptive and sensitive to them themselves and their needs. You need skills such as focusing, encouraging, and reflecting. You need to be able to focus on the talker, letting them know that you're paying attention to them and that what they're saying is important. You need to encourage the conversation by nodding, or tell me more. Also, reflecting what is said back to them to assure you have the correct information and that that's what they said in your own words and that you understand what's going on in order to avoid miscommunications. So reflecting is also important in a counseling relationship. Full body listening. You don't only listen with your ears, you listen with your entire body. First, you focus, which again is paying attention to the person and giving them your undivided attention. Acknowledgement. You want to acknowledge what they're saying and acknowledge them to encourage them to keep on with the conversation. Silence. Silence can be awkward and many people feel they need to fill this space by talking, but it can be an important skill in communication, allowing someone time to gather their thoughts or to make a point with a silent pause. Comfort. You need to be able to comfort an individual while listening to them in order to encourage them to share more with you. This is also an important level 1 skill and can be very helpful in a counseling relationship. Connection. You must have connection with another person in order to listen appropriately and continue talking to them. If you do not make a connection with someone, it can lead to misinterpretations and also mistrust. My background. I'm 43 years old, married. I have 1 child, a 12-year-old daughter. I'm an introvert. I have a bachelor's degree in sociology. I have 20 years working in human services. I grew up in a single-parent household. When I worked within the human service fields, I completed an internship with a family and child program. I also worked for a domestic violence shelter. I worked with the Department of Social Services doing child abuse investigations. I also worked in mental health. I'm currently working in the Office for Disabilities at Gardner-Webb University, helping students gain their accommodations and helping them through the process. Behavioral lens. This is graph 1. This is how people see me. I'm a strong I. I'm friendly, outgoing, inspiring, and influencing, fun-loving, and a spark plug. I keep wanting to say smart plug. Maybe that's what I think I am. But I'm actually a spark plug. I feel like that's how people see me. They want me to be on and the life of the party. And I tend to go for that role. Behavioral blends, this is the desk assessment tool that we use during class. I am a CDS, which is Competent Steady Doers. I do feel like this is pretty much what my behavioral blend is. I feel like most people see me this way, and I feel that I am this way. My feelings, according to this, is I feel I can do anything if I put my mind to it, which is true. I do feel that way, and most of the time I am able to do it when I put my mind to it. Not extroverted, which I said earlier, I am a true introvert, according to the Myers-Briggs, and when I'm not on at work or with my friends, I'm definitely an introvert. I see the big picture as well as the details. I can see the forest and the trees, but not get caught up too much within the trees. That helps me be able to look at all aspects of the situation. How others see me. Strong, sensitive, and a serious thinker. I do wear my feelings sometimes on my sleeves, but I can be strong when needed, and I do seriously consider information and think about it. My leadership style is enthusiastic and serious taskmaster, or having task skills. Active and passive, which seem to counteract each other, but it depends on what kind of situation you're in and what you're leading. Withdraw when needed, stepping back from the situation to allow time to work things out or see how things go. Behavioral blends continue. My following style is I'm a rule follower, which is definitely true. I plan, prepare, and a good follower, which I can be all of those. I respond best to those who take their time, plan, and are methodical. Conflict management, how I deal with that is I deal with it directly, which is true, and I'm not afraid of conflict, although I will not create it, but I will deal with it. Positive background behavioral blend influences. Some of the positive things both from my behavioral blends and my background. With my behavioral blend, I'm conscientious, a thinker, nice, kind, a rule follower, and influencing. My background, I have 20 years in human services, which I think is helpful for me when dealing with people and listening to their problems and also communicating on a level 1 listening. I've worked with many different people throughout the years. I'm married, which in order to have a good marriage, you need to be able to communicate with each other and listening. Still working on that one. And my educational background. The negative background and behavioral blends that I have. I'm inflexible, talkative, forceful, and strong-willed. I can be inflexible. That's something I definitely need to work on, and we'll talk about that more in the action plan. Strong-willed is one of my best and worst qualities. It can get me far, but it can also hold me back quite a bit. The negatives with my background is my age. I'm not young anymore, so I have a lot of information in there, and sometimes I think I know exactly what's going on when I need to be more open-minded. I'm listening to talk, and I came from a single-parent household, which is difficult when you live with 2 women in a household. Communication and listening is not always the best. Barriers to my interpersonal communication. We've discussed this. Inflexibility, waiting to talk, making eye contact, flat-brained at times, and courtroom behavior. Making eye contact has been something I've noticed for many years that I have trouble with and will continue to work on. I do find myself sometimes not listening to the person, but waiting for them to be quiet so I can talk. Inflexible, I can be inflexible, and I need to work on that also. Flat-brained at times, sometimes I get too filled up with emotions, which pushes from my stomach to my heart and gives me flat brain syndrome. In courtroom behavior, I do tend to interrogate people instead of actually carrying on a conversation and listening. Overcoming barriers. To overcome the inflexibility, I will listen and be more open-minded. Instead of waiting to talk or tell my story, I will encourage the conversation with others by showing interest. I will take the conversation out of the courtroom since I'm not an attorney, and I will become less interrogative and devote myself to more true listening. I will make eye contact. I will be mindful of this because this is something I do struggle with. But I want the other person to know I am connected with them and listening, so eye contact will be an important skill I will work on. I need to ensure that my stomach is not filled and pushing on my heart, which makes it hard to get information in or out, causing a flat brain. Noise pollution. Noise pollution is noise overload. Noise overload. Apparently, I'm way overloaded or overstimulated, which is also noise pollution. It can be interruptive behavior, loud noises, or stimuli. Examples of external noise include loud noises, interruptions, seeing others in activities, and room temperature. Loud noises can be anything from something falling off a shelf to a loud truck or something going by. Interruptions happen every day, especially with smartphones and computers and that kind of thing. So it can be a phone call, it can be someone coming into the room, it can be a text message alert where it rings. Seeing others in activity. If you're having a conversation where there's a lot of activity, a lot of people going by, things going out through the window, that can be an external noise. And the room temperature. Room temperature is important because if you're too cold, it's hard to concentrate on something. Also, if you're too hot, you become irritable, and it's also hard to concentrate on stuff. So it's important to have the right balance and make yourself as comfortable as possible and your list and your talker so that you can gain information. Internal noise. The time of day. If you're not a morning person, it's not best to have major conversations in the morning. Pick a time of day if you want to talk about something very seriously and you want to be able to make a connection that works for you or you're most alert. Red flag words. Red flag words can definitely interfere with a conversation. If you know someone's hot buttons and you choose to push them, do not be surprised when the conversation turns out negatively. Green flag words, though, are those words that are encouraging or that have a positive meaning for the talker that will help encourage and enlarge the conversation. Attention. If your attention is not focused on that person, if you're thinking about what you're going to wear the next day or the next task or the next client that you're going to see, you cannot give your full attention to that person. And judgment. To be non-judgmental, which as humans is very difficult for us to all do. But we need to listen without making judgments until we hear everything the person has to say. If we choose to judge people, they become less trusting of us. Two important words, and next. Both of these convey that you want the conversation to go on and gather more information. It's very important that when you're talking to someone, if you want to gain information and trust and let them know you're listening, you go, and what happened next? That allows them to tell more about the story and they realize that you're interested in what they're having to say. Also, and is another word. And, you just want to keep on with that conversation. Tell me more. They've gotten to a stopping point and they want to see if you're interested or not so you can carry on the conversation. Benefits of listening. Reaching level 1 listening, which is what we all strive for, but it's very hard to reach. Bringing meaning to the story. By listening, you can also add meaning to the story by understanding the point of view from that person. It's also important to improve your communication for your friends, coworkers, and spouse. You want to get the correct information. It's important not only to receive information, but the correct information, or the information as they see it and you have the correct meaning. Improves your relationships, and you want to meet the talker's needs. Sometimes people don't want solutions to their problems or advice, they just need to be heard. So if that's what your talker needs, that's what you need to provide. That's an important skill in level 1 and also a counseling relationship. Empathetic listening is always something that will help with level 1 listening, making connections, and a counseling relationship. One of the things that I find the most interesting from this class is that listening is power. The listener always has the power within a relationship. Coming to my action plan, what I plan to do with all this information and how to improve my communication in level 1 listening. To become a level 1 listener, I understand that I will have to take some time to work on this, and that I'm currently at a level 2 and sometimes dip into a level 3 depending on the day or even the hour. To be mindful when I listen and participate in communication, to attempt to encourage and work on my skills. I would like to work on my empathetic listening skills, non-judgmental, at least in my facial expressions and in my words. Acknowledgement, letting the person know I'm truly listening to them and I'm involved in their conversation. Paying attention, and the okay attitude. Want to enter the conversation with I'm okay, you're okay, instead of a deficient one of you're not okay and I'm okay. I will practice this listening skill, make eye contact and be mindful, less courtroom moments, biting my tongue. I think I referred to this in one of the reflection journals as I would have to bite my tongue a lot and it would be sore, and I think that's probably the case here. Active listening, all parts of me listening, not only my ears, but my nonverbal cues and my eye contact and presence. With the biography, I used all the textbooks within the course and 2 extra journals. This has been an interesting course that I will continue to take with me and continue to practice on in the future. Thank you.